Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt, and this is Team Chicago Challenge. Well, I said we should have a reunion at Millburg Speedway. They forgot, somebody dropped the ball. Not everybody showed up, but maybe the most important person showed up. Ken Scheffler showed up. He was the man that raced out here in earlier days. He's the man that took care of this racetrack. It was Ken and his brother Jerry. Jerry was the starter, and this is the Millburg Speedway. We talked earlier about the oval track they had, but this was a track that I knew about. This was the second racetrack I ever raced at on the TT course, so we're going to walk around. We're going to talk about the TT course, the great days at Millburg, and wow, I am so lucky that I can say I was part of that era of motorcycle racing starting in the 1970s. Ken, let me first start. When did your dad first conceive of this idea of building a track out here?
Probably about 57, 58.
But you said there was a TT track before, in the 40s.
Track was, no.
Oh.
That was back where the old motorcycle
That's
track.
what I'm saying, but that was the first track he built.
Track, yes, back in the 40s.
Okay, and then he built the oval.
In late 40s, early 50s, late 40s.
And that was
late 40s.
So that was the big draw out here. I mean, he drew hundreds of fans. And,
oh yeah, the stock car racing at one time was pretty big here. At one time, you know, then they went from dirt to asphalt, you know, and then they said they started the association and stuff, and that kind of, you know, messed things up. So then he just shut that one down and built the TT track out here.
So the TT was first as far as the track.
Oh yeah, out here. Oh yeah.
And that would have been what, late 60s or early 60s?
No, that'd be in the 50s.
In the 50s.
That'd be 57, 58, somewhere around there.
And it was always just motorcycles then.
To start with.
Right.
Then we made a go-kart track. We went around. We came around there and used the curve here and around there for go-karts.
On dirt.
On dirt.
So they did run go-karts on dirt back in them days.
2 years.
Right.
It was just mostly fun.
Right, right.
We would race each other, but you know, it was this. I don't know if it was organized racing as such, but I mean, you might have heat races, you know. I mean, and you just throw, you know, whoever showed up, you know. And they were about the same speed, so you know they would race again, you know, against each other and stuff. That was my first go-kart, you know, out here was out on this thing here in the dirt.
All right, so going back to the motorcycle racing, starting out with the TT track, any names you can remember of people that would have come out here and raced? I mean, Bart Marco and them guys.
Punk Wells was one of those.
Punk Wells.
Him and I don't remember who the other guys were so much, but he'd be one of the first guys, you know.
And that's back when they were racing what kind of bikes? Because this is before the Japanese invasion even.
You'd be Harleys. What was
Harleys and Indians?
Well, way back over in the other track, there was nothing but Harleys and Indians.
Right.
And here,
British bikes would start showing up.
There was Triumphs
and Gold Star BSAs and
BSAs, exactly.
Nortons and.
Well, there weren't that many Nortons, but it was mostly Triumphs and BSAs and Harleys.
And guys would have been, but how about in the 50s? So mainly Ducatis and stuff like that, or?
It could have been, there'd be some Ducatis. But well, see, back then BSA made a 250.
Right.
And then, you know, they made lots. Actually, my first bike I rode was a Triumph 200.
Right, Cub. 200 Cub.
That
was
my first bike I raced out here.
Okay. So you raced on the TT when you were young.
Oh, I ran my 200 Cub out here.
Right.
That's actually this place after.
So how many riders did you think would come out here in the 50s?
I don't know. Not nearly as many as it was, you know, as things got going.
Right.
But I mean, it didn't take long for the word got out. How nice the TT track was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it didn't take long. And, you know, hell, there was people from Illinois, Wisconsin, you know, Indiana, and you name it. It didn't take too many years.
Right.
You know, all the guys, you know, I know how the word got. Oh, well, I used to go down to Indiana with my little Cub and stuff and run, you know, your scrambles and stuff a little bit down there.
Cannonball.
Well, then they'd go through the woods. These woods, they actually were races, but they were It was crazy. I can't.
More like an early motocross than a.
Well, it wasn't a motor. They didn't make jumps and
Right,
stuff.
right.
It just whatever the lay of the land was.
Right.
You
and
know what I mean?
race through, and the track was only 10 feet wide or
Yeah,
less.
exactly. Yeah, it wouldn't be very wide at all.
Right.
You know, and I went down to Indiana a couple of times, you know, and then raced those kind of races a little bit.
So this here would be more professional than.
This here was, oh shit, this was the cream of the crop.
Right, right.
Back when it was built, this was, you know, there was nothing like it.
Right.
You know? Not in this area. There might have been out in
So
California.
your dad had a vision.
Oh yeah, and out in California places, you know, where they had the big tracks and stuff.
Ascot
you know, Ascot,
yeah.
you know, those places.
Right.
You know, they were, you know, big earlier too.
But your dad's vision was to make some, because he was a motorcycle guy.
Oh, he's always a motorcycle guy all his life.
Right.
There used to be the old Black Ace Motorcycle Club, which you wouldn't probably.
That's right. I remember seeing that name.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, okay.
Black Ace
But
Motorcycle.
these guys.
That would be on a trophy. I think the trophy I got at home from
Okay,
1970.
originally, that's probably when they first started out.
Right.
I think they was sanctioned by the motorcycle club too, the Black Ace Motorcycle Club.
Right.
They used to have the hill climbs when I was a pretty small kid, out on Reynolds Road, and then there was a hill out there, you know, 100 and some foot hill, and the Black Ace, they would have 3 or 4, 2, 3, or you know, 4 hill climbs a year with their motorcycle club. You
It
know.
was big after the World War II.
All right. So what? Tell me, introduce yourself and tell me where you fit in all this.
I'm Paul Scheffler. Roger was my dad, his brother, younger brother. I wasn't alive, you know, when all this happened, but I'm here now. I'm just, you know, as far as supporting the family and everything, and it was here, but that's basically it. I mean, I wasn't around for none of it. I mean, he's all the information you're gonna get out of him, pretty much. So I've heard many stories over the years. You'd think I'd probably been alive back then, 'cause I've heard so many of them, but yeah, I was born in '82, so I was pretty much all done by the time I was.
Missed it all, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much missed it all.
I remember coming out here, when I was very little. They had a mud bog here, you know. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe at the most.
We didn't even have the track at that time.
As Ken, Paul, and Chuck head over towards turn 1, I have my story about racing and winning at Millburg.
One thing I want to point out, we're at Millburg Speedway. This is the first corner. One thing I learned, and thank God for my good friend Tom Junker. Tom Junker came out here, videotaped one of my races here. And one thing I learned in this videotape, coming off the start-finish line, going into this first corner, I would let off the gas. The key, if you wanted to win out here, you could not let off the gas going to the TT, going downhill. So once I seen that on video, that I was letting off the gas too much, the next time, and my dad came with the next weekend or 2 weekends, it was every other week out here at Millburg. My dad came and I won that race. So I did not let off the gas. I came off the line first. I let off the track. I stayed on the gas down the hill, came around, I was in the lead, and once I was in the lead, I won the race. So this is one important corner, and we're gonna show some different footage of racing back here then, but that was one of the keys, is to stay on the gas and make it down the hill, and that's how you hit. That was one of the tricks to winning.
Let's go back to 1971. That is Jerry Scheffler starting the race. I'm in green leathers on the blue bike. I let off the gas just a bit, and a bike goes by me on the outside. As I come through turn 1 and 2, I am now in 3rd place on the inside. As we go over the jump, let's slow it down to start again, and you will see I'm in the green leathers. I back off the gas just a little bit. Another bike goes by on the outside, and that is what I learned looking at this film. My good friend Tom Junker shot this film on a Super 8 camera. He was standing on the roof of my Dodge van, and as you can see, Tom did a great job following the action. No tripod. This is handheld, holding the camera. Doing a great job following the action through turn 3 and then turn 4, which is the left-hander, and then on to the front straightaway, racing all the way over to turn 1 again, going downhill, back uphill to turn 2, which is a very nice, smooth corner. Coming over to the jump. As you can see, I am in third place. I'm on a 650 Triumph Bonneville. I removed the headlight and the tail light. I'm using a BSA fiberglass gas tank. I bought a set of motocross Cheriani forks that I still use today, are on this Triumph. Stock rear shocks, stock frame. But this is generally how everybody raced back in the late 60s and the 70s. We slow it down again. You can see me come over the jump into the right-hander. A great day at Millburg Speedway, 1971. This would have been in the middle of summer. And you can see the various pits around the track where people are parked. They're even parked on the short track. But the TTs ran on Sunday, and at the end of the race, I crashed right before the start-finish line. As we zoom in, you can see I am getting off the track. Two bikes go zooming by. Let's slow it down and zoom in a little tighter. And you will see that I'm on the ground, green leathers, green helmet. That's my first Bellstar helmet. One bike goes by, a second bike goes by. Great film footage from 1971. And as we see Chuck Weber heading over to the downhill section of Millburg Speedway, we're going to catch up with Ken and Paul Scheffler, and he's going to explain this section.
And preparing the track, did you have any trouble with washouts out here? What was the main way you kept this track in such great shape coming?
No, it wouldn't. We didn't have much trouble here. But then we'd have it so the water would come down and run along the side over here. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, the water. You know, you got your bank. Right. And it would have the main.
So you're saying because this outside was a little bit higher, it was banked towards the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
So this would stay pretty.
Natural flow of the water would flow towards the inside.
Right. So how about down here for the creek here? You just had a tile underneath there, and that was enough.
A tile under the creek here.
Did it ever flood? Did you ever have any problem with the track flooding out?
I mean, it had to be really, you got a 4 or 5 inch rain, then it might go over the top.
But we never affected a race during the season?
No.
Not all those years?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Not that you can remember.
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
Right.
But it was your dad that came up with this layout.
Oh yeah.
Did he base it off anything, or just what he wanted? Just what he wanted to ride.
He came out here and looked at it, and he said, "Hey, this is what I wanted to do." And
did he have to clean this out to begin with?
It was all trees.
So all this.
Bulldozer, bulldozer.
Right.
And they moved the dirt and.
Right.
Yeah.
So you helped. So the maintenance. In the spring, how much maintenance was there? Or not much stuff grew up in here,
no, not in the track itself.
Right.
You never get the brush. Not from if you kept going year to year.
Right.
Right.
This
hasn't been used for who knows how many years.
Well, you can tell. I mean, come down.
Right.
Yeah. Clear it out on the kids.
All right, I'm going to swing the camera, and we'll talk about this corner.
You can see where the track went up over there.
Right.
It went up over there. It went down through here, then turned and come back down.
Well, that was always a real nice corner too, because it was.
Oh yeah. And you get a little sensation when you come up over there.
Right.
But the bike never flew in the air, but you would get the sensation. And here you get when you come driving over, you come hauling over this hill here.
You'd have a negative G.
You'd be feeling, it'd get light. It'd be getting light on you. It would be getting light on you. Definitely would.
As we look at some of the Johnson family film from that era, 1971, 1972, you can see the bikes racing down through turn 1 and over to turn 2, which was a very nice, fast corner. This was a very fast area of the racetrack, and turn 2 was a very smooth corner. Now we're going to talk to Chuck Weber.
So Chuck, you never got to ride the TT track, huh?
I never got to ride the TT track, and I only rode short track a dozen times maybe. But more importantly than my racing here was when I started, the fellows who I got to see race here, and the racing I got to see was Steve Elo, Terry Allen, Tom Hicks. It'd take me more time, but there was terrific racing here. It was a tremendously aggressive, fast, fun place to watch the races.
As we look at some of the footage from 1971, you can see the bikes coming out of turn 2 and heading uphill over the famous Millburg jump. And now Ken Scheffler's going to tell us about this section of the racetrack.
Over there.
Gotcha.
And then it came around here and it came down through here. Came right down through here.
Was this a jump at all? Just
No, this is smooth. This is smooth. This was all smooth.
This is smooth.
Right. So that tree for sure wasn't there.
I didn't see that tree wasn't there.
This tree wasn't here.
Oh yeah.
This tree would not have been here.
No, that's fast, Brent. Those things go quick.
And you would have a tile
There's tile went across here.
across the creek.
The tile had been this way more.
Back over here.
Be this way more.
Oh.
Right, there's part of the tile right there.
Oh, right there.
There's
Yeah.
the original tile right there. There it is, right there. That's the original tile.
You can see the broken drain tile, and you can also see how the creek has changed its course over the years.
I don't believe that tree was there back then. That tree over there even. I don't know if it's here, man. Plus you're going downhill. Sure. And you'd be hauling ass through here. You'd be going as fast through here as you'd be going down the straightaway. Maybe even a little faster. Because this is straight here. You know, this is a pretty long straightaway.
As we watch these motorcycles coming out of turn 2 and going uphill and over the jump, you can see how fast the motorcycles are running. Coming out of turn 2, downhill, and then over the jump. Running downhill through turn 2, and then over the jump. When the motorcycles come over the jump, then they go into the right hand and the left hand, turn 3 and turn 4. And now Ken Scheffler is going to tell us about the last 2 corners on this course at Millburg Speedway.
About in here would be the outside of this turn. What about in here? What my dad did is add a little on that corner back there.
Gotcha.
You know, but it was in a lot further than what that short track is now because that wasn't filled in back then. The TT track just went through here, you know. But like I said, the pond was not there at that time either. So the inside of the corner was actually inside by that pond there. And like, this hump was not here back then either. That hump of dirt there. Yep. But this here was original on and off, you know, for the track here.
Oh, to get on and off the track, right?
Off the track, only off.
Off, right.
Only off.
Entrance, and the entrance was over there, right?
Exactly.
So is this a big pit area back here?
This all was pit. All this is pit.
Right.
All pit. In fact, from the announcer stand this way, this was all pits.
So it was all cleaned out back then?
Oh yeah, it was all open. Probably in this neighborhood, and it started right there. And we had that's where we always had our board We wrote on all the
Yep.
races, the order
Which
of the
heat
races.
you were in, and
Yeah, exactly.
so did we come out here? We would line up
We
here.
line you up right here.
Okay.
We line you up here for the different
So
heats.
all of this was open.
Oh yeah, yeah.
As far
Well,
as
the property went back. See where those the other row of trees is that right back there?
right.
That's how far. That's where the property went back to.
As we look at some short track action, this is the Johnson family film footage. This looks like young Eddie Scarlatta battling with Garth Brow on the short track. Ken Scheffler is going to explain how the short track was built in that 1962 through 1964 era.
That had to be 62-3, I'm guessing. Maybe in that neighborhood, 62-3, 4. When they started the short track.
You think that went along with when the AMA changed the rules also? Because it was like 62 and 63, they went from the big bikes down to 250s in.
Because there was definitely 250s. That was
Right.
the biggest bike you could have on short track.
Right, right.
When we started this out.
So about the same time, you would think.
It probably had to be.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much so. 'Cause they definitely were 250s. Was the biggest, was the biggest bike when we first started the short track. Then towards the end, they went up to 360. But it was so it had to probably be around 62-3. Probably pretty close there. Yeah.
And how old were you when they started laying out? Do you remember working on setting up the short track?
I was here when we built the scrambles track. Mm-hmm. In 57, 58. Well, I was 57. I was probably like 12 years old. I was born in 44, 54.
Okay. Is there some wild years?
Yeah, so I've been at least 12 or 13 years, 12, 13 years when they started the scramble track.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep.
So all you guys worked out here?
Well,
The family?
oh yeah, the family always did. And my dad, he was an electrician, so he put the poles up and stuff for the short track when we first started the short track. And brother Jerry, my older brother, he was an electrician too. Mm-hmm. So he helped, after he got older, he helped in the
That's right, you
wiring.
couldn't plan on doing the short track on Saturday without being able to put the lights
You
in.
had to have it.
Right,
Yeah, exactly.
right.
What a wonderful reunion and a wonderful conversation. Special thanks to Ken and Paul Scheffler and to Denny Nickel for his permission to let us walk the racetrack. And thanks to my late great friend Tom Yunker for his great footage and the Johnson family for their priceless racing footage from Millburg Speedway. If you want to send me a comment, my email is teamdan45@gmail.com, and look for other great motorcycle racing clips right here on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing.